my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who's new, hi!
Hi!
I'm Leorah, this is Akiva, and we're so glad you found us. Okay, so welcome to today's video, which is going to be a lifestyle video, because actually a couple of you have requested more lifestyle videos, and that is going to be my pleasure to do, because there's always something to talk about, and it's just nice to sit and talk. And yeah, so today I brought Akiva here, who is my oldest son, because there is a reason. Because this is also going to be the launch of a new series, which is going to be my and your stories. I think that's what I'm going to call it. If it's going to be called differently, then you'll see it in the title. Okay, so for now it's my and your stories, and that is going to be a new playlist and like a new series on my channel, and I'm going to explain to you at the end of the video what this is all about. Okay, but for now I just want to go into our story time, and before we ask Akiva a little bit to talk about this, I'm going to just paint the backdrop for you to know, so you know what we're talking about. Okay, so yesterday when I'm filming this, and you're probably going to see this the week after, a couple days after it has happened. So yesterday Akiva had an event in his school. So he is now almost 13 years old, and his whole class, all of the kids are of course in about the same age. That means that all of them will have their bar mitzvah at some point this year. So there is a big emphasis on that topic, of course, in that year. So yesterday was an event in his school about that topic, and for that event, of course, also the parents were invited, and I was at home babysitting, but my husband went with my son. And they had invited two people to speak at the event, and that were brothers. One of them was about 60, the other one was about 54, something like this, doesn't matter, not young, okay, like medium age. And one of them, the older one, was called Ofer, and the younger one was called Dekel. So these are Hebrew names, of course, if you're not used to stuff like that. So these are Hebrew names, Ofer and Dekel. Okay, so they came to speak, and I don't want to say that they were like entertainers or comedians or something like this, but I would say maybe motivational speakers, but in their own special way, because Dekel has Down syndrome, and that made the whole thing so special. And my husband, when he came home and talked to me about it, I immediately knew that I want to talk about this today. So Ofer was born, and he, for the longest time, of course, didn't have a brother. I think he had sisters in between, but he wanted the whole time to have a brother. Finally, when he was about 14 years old or 13 years old, he had a brother, you know, and Dekel was born. Now, when Dekel was born, they found out that he had Down syndrome. And Ofer had a huge problem with that. He couldn't deal with it. He didn't know what that all means. He just wanted a normal brother, and his brother was sick, and he looked different, and it was a huge deal for him and a huge problem. And Ofer told everybody there, the whole crowd, that for the first 13 years of Dekel's life, he sort of shunned or shut his brother out of his life because he didn't know what to do with him, you know? So they were publicly dealing with this whole subject of being born sick, or having a sick person, or a different person, or a special person, or a not normal person in your family, about all the ramifications that it has, you know, things that happen in your life where you have absolutely no control over, and all of these things. So by just talking to each other on stage and involving also the audience, they were sort of teaching everybody a lesson there on like an amazing level that had the audience's attention for an hour. Yeah, so Akiva, now it's your turn. What do you think? Like, what did you take from this evening? What impressed you?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that Dekel and Ofer did everything in a very humoristic way, and it
like
was
lighthearted.
Exactly. Yeah. And I took from this, they also said this, I learned a lot of stuff from the meeting, though the most important thing that I learned was that there's a lot of stuff that we didn't like in our past, and we need to learn from them lessons, but more than the lessons, we need to just leave them in the past and concentrate on our future. And if we will do so, we will have also enough power to help other people to do the same thing.
Just imagine if Dekel, the one with the Down syndrome, would bear a grudge for the rest of his life towards his brother because his brother didn't know how to deal with the situation, you know? So I think this is an amazing thing, that no matter if what you're dealing with in your family is sickness or all kinds of other issues that is hard for you, or that is a strain on your family or on your relationship or whatever, you know, to deal with it, yes, but then to leave it in that room and shut the door and move on to a new room where the color is different or where the lighting is different. You know, for me that is it's very, very important. In my house, every room has a different color, and I love that. I need that because I'm very sensitive to colors. Not everybody is. Just as an example, you know, so you can sort of visualize what we are talking about, that you leave your issues after you have resolved them as much as you could. You leave them in the room and you close the door and you move on, because otherwise you're going to influence, well, the rest of your life is going to be influenced by everything in your past, of course, but you're going to potentially ruin the rest of your life. Like in the case of Dekel and Ofer, potentially they could have had no relationship for the rest of their lives because of those first 13 years, you know? What also really, really impressed me, what my husband told me, was that their mother, Ofer's and Dekel's mother, actually really, really from the beginning tried to make a way for her Down syndrome child into a normal life, into the normal school system, into a normal kindergarten. She was going from, I don't know to which places she had to go and to apply and to go through evaluations and to I don't know what, in order to get her son, her Down syndrome child, into a normal kindergarten. And what happened then, Akiva?
After a lot of arguments with the mother of Dekel and Ofer, with the principal of the kindergarten, successfully they let Dekel get into the kindergarten, but 5 kids left the kindergarten only because Dekel joined.
Yeah, which means that the parents, of course, the children didn't leave the kindergarten on their own, but the parents decided to take out their children and move them to a different kindergarten because they did not want to be in that situation, in that uncomfortable situation of being, you know, in a kindergarten with a Down syndrome child. And that is just, it's unbelievable. First of all, I want to say that the mom deserves a prize. She deserves an award. She deserves big hugs of all of us and blessings and everything good that there is, because just imagine how old these people are already. We're talking about 54 years ago when Dekel was born, which means, am I saying this right? No, it's 45. Sorry, I was right. 45 years ago, when Dekel was born, times were different. You know, now, at least in Israel, I don't know where it is somewhere else, but Shiluf schools, which means that there are handicapped children and normal children together in one school. It is normal. Our kids grow up knowing that they need to help a child in a wheelchair to carry their books, or to maybe help them to the bathroom, or to, I don't know, you know, to help them with their homework, or to explain something to them if they need a little bit more help, because there are also kids in those schools, in our schools where we have our kids, that have learning disabilities, that are not physically challenged, but they just need a little bit more time and a little bit more help learning. So our kids know that. For us, this is normal, but think what the mother had to go through to just fight for the rights of her child. It is unbelievable. This woman, I would so love to meet her, you know? It's unbelievable. Okay, so after Dekel was, of course, then in that kindergarten, and he had to deal his whole life with rejection, of course, or with misunderstanding and with, you know, then he got a little bit older and he wanted to join the Boy Scouts. So what happened then, Akiva?
When he wanted to join the Boy Scouts, the leader of the Boy Scouts rejected him, and that happened for a long time. And he never in the end went to the Boy Scouts, not because he didn't want, but because it wasn't allowed. Not because the leader hate people with Down syndrome, it's only because the kids will make laugh at him, and they will make a lot of problems and distractions.
So basically, it always boils down to you don't want to be in the situation that you're uncomfortable, you know, because people that are different, people that are special, make you uncomfortable. And I know that this is now definitely not on the same level, but I feel it with my makeup because I'm different and I'm special in some way, at least what other people see. It makes them feel uncomfortable, and their reaction makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, multiply this by 500 million times, and then you know what Dekel must have felt, you know, that he has to deal with rejection all the time. His parents have to feel the rejection all the time. The siblings have to deal with the rejection on account of their brother all the time. What strain that is on a family, and how that either breaks you apart as a family or it pulls you together. So in their case, it actually really pulled them together, which is absolutely amazing. So now the other thing is he never joined the Boy Scouts. And they, after a couple of years, when they started to do this show, I'm just going to call it show because I don't know how to really say it, what exactly it is, motivational speech or whatever it is called. They actually wanted to go to the Boy Scouts and put on this show for the Boy Scouts, right?
Yeah. And the leader back then, in that time, rejected them again because...
Was that the same leader? No, couldn't be.
No.
It was a different one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that what's happened for 5 years until the leaders changed, and there was a new leader, which was once in a show of them.
Oh, okay.
And Dekel knows to look through the heart and not through the eyes, and he knew that this kid, his name is Itamar, needed help. He went to that kid in the middle of the show.
What are you talking about? Wait.
The leader of the Boy Scouts when he was a kid.
Ah, that was Itamar back then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the leader of the Boy Scouts, Itamar, back then, he was in school, grade 8. And in that show, Dekel went to him and knew that something was wrong with him. He asked Itamar what happened, and Itamar just hugged him and said, "You taught me to not stay in my past and go to the future." That happened because once when he was in school, his dad used to pick him up. One day he didn't come already until 2 o'clock, which was, I guess, very late for that school. His principal said that it's already too late, and there is no way that he is just getting late. She bring him home, and then he understood that his father was in a motorcycle accident and he didn't survive.
Oh my goodness.
And then he just said to Dekel that he taught him a lot of stuff. And because this Itamar, the leader of the Boy Scouts, asked them to perform. Now, because all the rejections from to Dekel, he didn't want anymore to perform there.
Dekel didn't want anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
He said, "You missed it." Though Itamar said the touching story to Ofer, which is the guy that organizes all the shows, or the brother of Dekel, and then he made Dekel.
He convinced him to do it anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, these two brothers, Ofer and Dekel, they even performed in the White House under President Clinton, which is really, really amazing, you know? So they have really reached out, and they're bringing their message to a wide audience, and that is, it is so cool. In my opinion, the mom, who is still alive, should be on stage with them. I would love to talk to her and just find out her view of this, you know, what she felt and all of these things. I would love to meet her and see what she has to say, but she must be quite old by now. So anyway, I thought that was an amazing thing that we just wanted to share with you, because there is so much in this, you know. Also, at some point, they were not just speaking to the audience, they were also like making jokes of each other, like bouncing off each other, you know. And it was apparently actually so cool that they were making jokes in the sense of who of them is even the normal one. Because, you know, at some point you don't know, like who says what is normal? Who defines that? It's just because the majority is this way and there is a minority who is that way. Who says that the majority is normal? Who dares to say that? I hate that, you know, because I'm a minority, you know. So yeah, and then the other thing is that Dekel at some point, because he got put into a normal school system and a normal kindergarten, he got tested at some point for his IQ level, and it turned out that he has an IQ of 90, which I don't think I have.
Yeah, it's better than a lot of us, because usually it's between 80 to 115, and he has 90.
That is amazing, you know. Also that he reached the age of 45, I don't know, 45-ish, I don't know exactly, which is quite a you know, mature age for someone with Down syndrome, because the life expectancy is usually not that big, which is also awesome.
It's an achievement.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so he got tested for his IQ level, and he is apparently in Israel the one with the highest IQ level in the Down syndrome community, which is awesome, you know. And then the whole thing with the normal and not normal and special, this whole thing about special, I hate this too, because it's just a cover up, mostly. It's just a cover up for saying abnormal. You know, you just try to be nice, and how we have changed our language in order to accommodate our feelings of being uncomfortable, you know, even with saying that he is not normal or he is what, you know, so we say it's a special child, it's special needs. I get it. I understand it, but still it sort of rubs me the wrong way, because you know what the mom did? She didn't think that he was not normal or that he was special. She treated him as a gift from God. And that is what it is. You know, he was a blessing in his own way. He was a gift, as is every child, but he was a gift from God in his own way. And this is how she treated him, and this is how she addressed him. And I love this. You know, it is so, so nice.
Yeah, when he was born, the nurse took Dekel out of the room. Because last time they had a baby with Down syndrome, the mother just left the baby in the hospital because she didn't want to take care of him. And she also sued the hospital for not making her ready, because she almost had a heart attack that she got a baby with Down syndrome.
But that was not Dekel's mom,
no,
the other mom.
It's other mom. Yeah. And then because of this, the hospital decided to before take him out, and then the doctor comes and says it. Now, the problem with this is that sometimes it looks like the baby died. And that's what the mom thought. Because for 4 minutes, she didn't see her baby. And then the doctor came with a sad face. She started crying. And then he said that that her baby has a Down syndrome. And then she stopped crying and said, wait, he's alive.
Huh. Just imagine, you know, they treated the baby, an alive baby with Down syndrome, as if it's a diseased child. All right, so at the end of the evening, or of the event, Dekel and Ofer actually then asked the audience for everybody to raise his hand who thinks that this was not a wasted evening. So most of the hands would have gone up, or everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course Akiva put his hand up too, and what happened then?
They called me up to stage.
Yeah, so they called Akiva up on stage, and then
they asked me what did I learn from the evening. And I said I learned a lot of stuff. But the most important thing is what I said in the beginning of the video. To leave the past in the past. Learn from it lessons, but just go to the future.
And you know what? That is, maybe it sounds that a young kid, you know, or a young adult, or whatever you want to call kids in that age, that this is too profound and it's too deep. But you know what? Kids in that age are going through stuff too. And they also need to leave stuff in the past and need to move on. It's on their level. It's maybe not levels of crazy stuff that maybe adults deal with, but for them it is still crazy stuff, you know. It's just that we cannot compare it. It's like two different, it's apples and oranges. So I think to invite these people, Ofer and Dekel, to give the children and also the parents this message is first of all super smart of the school to make this decision, and just so valuable to as a life lesson. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that was great. What do you think? Please let us know in the comment section down below, because we definitely want to have your feedback on this, what you think about the whole topic, and also about my new series here on my channel, because there's more. And I want to quickly just go into this to tell you what else there is, okay? So I'm going to leave in the description box down below a email address, which I am creating just for this purpose here, because I'm not going to make my own personal email address public. You know, I cannot do that, but this is going to be an email address created just for this purpose. And I want, if you want to, I want you to share stories here to be read on my channel. So if you have whatever story it is, the most amazing moment, the most exciting moment, the most like the saddest moment, the most horrific moment, the most lovely moment, whatever, like the moment of greatest relief in your life, whatever it is that you think is a good story that should be shared and that people should hear, write it to me in an email, and I'm going to print it out and I'm going to read it here on my channel and make a story time out of it. And if it's shorter stories, then maybe I'm going to include 2 or whatever, and then I'm going to, at the end of the story, maybe also give my own thoughts to what I'm thinking, what happened there, and what, you know, my opinion about the whole thing. I think that could be really nice, and like that we also get to share stuff. You know, you don't have to like leave your name and maybe just your first name and maybe your age, or if it is relevant to the story, maybe leave how many kids you have or something like this, only if it's relevant. But you can be more or less anonymous. You can be also completely anonymous if you want to be. But if you want to share something, I think that could be really nice and beneficial for all of us to be uplifted, or to just give comfort to each other, or to be encouraged. Whatever the story is about, I think we can all learn something through this. And if you are religious and you want to share a story that has a religious content to you know, to encourage other people or to just spread some light in this world, then that's okay too. I'm totally up for that. I love you know, because I get encouraged by that too, and I'm not always the most happy and most brave person in the whole world, so I need encouragement too. So if you want, then please do so. I'm going to keep this whole thing open because I don't know how fast people are going to react to this. So feel free to do that, and whenever something comes up, then I'm going to make a video out of this, and then let's see how the response will be, you know, if people are going to like this. But I think story times, especially things with value, with a lesson, that is just something that we all need, and that is just also very easy to listen to, because you don't have to watch me doing a tutorial, a makeup tutorial, because you can just put me to the side, just have the volume up, and I don't know, iron some shirts, or I don't know, do your normal work, because you just have to listen. So I think that could be awesome. What do you think?
Awesome.
Okay. All right, sweeties. So give us your feedback. And besides that, of course, you will find everything else that you need to know, my makeup and also my social media contacts and everything. And of course, that email address that I spoke about that I have not yet created, but I will, in the description box down below. I didn't film the look in case you were interested. I did use the Oceanic palette from Ace Beauté because I felt like greens. So yeah, just so you know. Besides that, of course, give the video a like if you liked it, and if you're new here, then please subscribe to my channel, and I would love to have you here. And besides that, I'm going to see you here for my next video, which is going to be super soon. And up until then, go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.
Bye.